Welcome back. Can you believe that it is the end of February already? This year is flying by. If you're new here, this is the Becoming a Creator podcast. I'm your host and co-founder of pipelinegg, Snoopy. In this show, we sit down with some of the top creators in the industry and learn about their journey to how they got to where they are today. I'm going to be joined by iPodKingCarter. He's one of the top creators in NBA 2K. And what I love about this episode and David's story specifically is he has managed to balance a full-time job, being a family man, and building a business as a content creator. In this episode, we dive into David's story and how he made it happen. Yeah. David, thank you so much for coming on the pod. I'm glad it's 2022. Excited to have you here. It is incredible to have you, man. We wanted to do this last year. We're finally getting around to it. And it's great to hear.
They say some great things take time. That's all. You know what I mean?
That is it. Exactly. That is it. Well, you're no stranger to content creation. And I'm excited to get into that and kind of go through parts of your journey. Okay. But first things first, you got to tell me what's your go-to sub and drink order from Wawa?
Oh, you're going to hate me for this. Meatball sub, classic, wheat roll, 10-inch with a large mango slushy. Definitely.
The large mango slushy?
Yes. I'm telling you, the drink of champions. You understand me? It literally, it doesn't thaw out. It doesn't taste water. It's like literally amazing every time. I believe Wawa came out with like this mango peach. I'm not really feeling it though. Just keep it straight mango. Trust me.
When you go back to the early days of gaming and how you started with NBA 2K on the Dreamcast, was there any other games that were a huge influence on you back in the beginning?
Wow. The biggest influence for me as far as just playing video games would have to be Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Just being a gamer around that time, it was insane. It literally made me get an Xbox. Like I was always pro PlayStation. So I was like, you know what, PlayStation over everything. But once people told me like, hey, you might want to get Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, it was like, yo, this is a game changer. I'm in party chats. I'm buying different types of headsets. And this is like a little bit before the whole YouTube run. But it was like, yo, like Call of Duty Modern Warfare was crazy. On the early side, like I would say, Mario games for me, Metroid really put me on. I wasn't really a Mario guy. Metroid was really my thing. Jordan vs. Bird. What else? 3-point shootout. Then once you go into the Sega run, it's like, I don't know why, but I was never really crazy big into like the AAAs. Like when Sega came out, I really wasn't into Sonic and stuff like that. I was playing like NBA Jam and stuff like that. Then when Dreamcast came out, that changed the game. Like, everybody was trying to do like different types of games with like 64 and stuff like that. But I was like, let me try this little box thing. Let's see what's on here. And I fell in love with 2K that day. I was like, oh, this is crazy. It's kind of weird shooting free throws with the back paddles, but I was like, you know what? I can do it. And then, once 2K10 came out 10 years later, I just was like, man, I really want to see if I can do this YouTube thing, because so many people were just reaching out to me like, yo, we got our clan. You need to upload our clips. Go ahead and just put them on that YouTube thing. And I'm like, YouTube thing? I'm thinking MySpace and stuff like that. Like, yeah, I'm pretty old. But they was like, yeah, just put it on YouTube. And once I did, I just never looked back at all. Yeah.
Speaking about getting onto YouTube, when we go down a little bit of a history roll on your videos on YouTube, it's always fun to do that. You look back at yourself back in the beginning. But
yes,
if you were to boot up NBA 2K11 right now, do you think you can get another Jordan shoe endorsement?
Oh, of course, well, no problem. I'm the god. Like when I created my characters, I created them not in the image of Jordan, but in a hybrid image of Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, even, LeBron James, like all of some of the greatest players with height. And I just made like this 6'9" beast, and he just could do everything. He could dribble, he could drive to the lane, he could pass, he could shoot. It was like the hybrid of LeBron. And when I got that Jordan shoe endorsement, man, it really changed the game, because man, back then, it was so different. Like, I know you probably remember like Dazzle quality videos
Yep.
and stuff like that. No, man, I'm talking about recording on a G1 cell phone, a HTC cell phone, held up with like a glassware cup on an ironing board, just aimed at your TV. Like, oh man, yo, those days, it was literally the definition of getting it out the mud. Like, it was crazy. It was insane, man. But I loved every minute of it, man, and I still do.
You gotta see the then and now. That is just is wild that what you had back then when you first started, and now
Mhm.
you've got content creators they're thinking of getting started and they got to drop like 3 grand on a setup before they can even press go.
Yep. I mean, the thing about it is now, I won't say that it's oversaturated. I will say that it's more competitive because when people say something about oversaturation, it's no such thing because there's all different types of content out there from different people. So when we look at the different type of competition, I have moms and dads reaching out to me. Like if I go to PTA meetings, they'll be like, "Hey man, I see you in the paper and I just wanted to pick your brain. Like, getting my son to set up for Christmas and he's looking to become a big streamer and a gamer." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's super easy." He was like, "Well, how much is this gonna run me?" And I'm like, "Oh man, no problem. I can go ahead and give you one of my links, set you up with a nice little budget kit to get you started." This one dad, he was like, I don't want to spare any expense. His setup literally cost him like 7,500, like literally. And he was like, "Man, I thank you so much." And then there was another dad at the PTA meeting. He was like, "Oh man, I thank you so much." His whole entire setup was like 1,700. And he came out happier. His son was doing better because I feel like nowadays, if you get those amazing setups, it's like you want to see instant gratification. You want to see at least 40, 50 people in your chat on your first few streams, when in all reality, it's not like that. You know what I mean? So I commend people that go out and buy those crazy setups first day, man. I do.
Yeah, maybe they need to set their expectations a little bit though on that
Yeah.
side.
Yeah.
Um, you talk about that. You were mentioning there's a couple of things I want to dig in there. The first was spending time with your family, getting that balance. How
Mhm.
was that being for you over like can you have balance? Is there any such thing as balance? Like what's your relationship been with that over the last decade?
For me, the balance comes with my wife. My wife, through all of this, through my journey of content creation and streaming, has been my rock. Without her, I would literally be in a rabbit hole of looking at social media every day to figure out how to further my brand and watching content to see how other people are doing things, take little things from this person, follow this person in their journey, you know what I mean? Be a part of all of it. She tells me, "Hey, when it's me, cut it all off." You know what I'm saying? That phone, put it on silent, turn notice off, hit the moon. I love that little moon feature. When iPhone came out with that little do not disturb feature, it changed everything for me, man. Because like I said, the rabbit hole, like you're literally like, remember World Star and how you used to just watch videos and like 4 hours would go by and you'd be like, "Yo, I got 90 tabs open. I've been watching World Star this entire time. What's going on?" That's how I am with content creation. So she helps me so much. Like we have family days, we have dinner dates. We always try to eat together upstairs. So I always try to make sure that I'm around, as well as our schedules just work out better because she handles all of it. Like if I have to, say for instance, do this podcast, she knows from 4 to 5:30 or 6. The kids stay on the second floor. She can watch TV, you know what I mean, rummage around, go shopping, do whatever she needs to do. Once I'm done, it's, "Hey, do we hit the gym? Does anybody have any tests that they want to go over? Oh, somebody has a project due. Let's get to that." So like I'm telling you, my rock, literally. Yeah.
That's awesome. And yeah, I think having a good support system in place is so important. Was it always something you had in lockstep, like you were both on the same page, or was that you needed a lot of work at that?
I believe it started out with you're playing a game a lot. Then it was you're up all night. Then it was, "Why am I going to sleep by myself?" And then it was like, "Oh, bae, I just want to let you know I've been doing this and I want to chase it." So, she got involved in it. She started watching more of the content. And then she started seeing the feedback that I was getting on social media. She started seeing the numbers grow and stuff like that. And then it was like one of those things where it's like, "Oh, he has a passion for this. He really, really wants to do this." Okay, I'll be the person to make sure it all makes sense on a bigger scale. So there's never a time where, like, oh, matter of fact, I do have a great story. One time I was recording, right? And mid recording, I noticed that I wasn't recording any audio. It happens to every creator. If it has never happened to you, you're not in the mud. But I was recording, had no audio, and I had to start the recording over. My wife is calling my phone, letting me know, like, don't forget your son is about to get out of school soon. And I'm like, okay, I got it. Boom. But this is back like when he was about 3, so it's like pre-K, and that at that time I'm not using calendars, alarms, and stuff like that. And I'm like 5 minutes late for pickup, and she's calling my phone like, "Hey, babe, where are you at?" I was like, "Oh, babe, I'm just recording. I'm almost done. I got like 15 minutes left." She's like, "No, you're supposed to be at the school." And it was like, yo, my whole world just exploded because, even though they have the after program and stuff like that, which, any mother can or father can call and set up, it was like, yo, I dropped the ball. And from that day forward, when my son was 3, I made it my literal, I guess you could say, promise to her, like, yo, this will never happen again. And it hasn't. You know what I mean? Like, I'm always where I'm supposed to be at the right time. I have alarms going off on my phone all day long. It's just the way life is now. I'm literally like a schedule. So, yeah.
A walking schedule. I love that. That's awesome. Switching gears a bit, I want to check out one of the things we're doing was reading in your past is you worked at the Philly airport as a baggage handler.
Yep.
Now you gotta know the scoop. Like, what you gotta tell me? I fly a reasonable amount.
Okay, I got you.
What's the secret about baggage handling that's gonna scare everyone to only starting to take their bags on like a carry-on?
Ooh, okay. There was this story that came out. I think it was about, I would say like 8 years ago. There was an employee that used to work at one of the airports that used to get bags, because of course when you check in for your flights sometimes 2 hours early, maybe 3, because you have a check bag, you want to make sure it gets with you. They said that this character was going in bags while they were in the bin and taking items from bags. And they did like a big investigation, FBI sweeps, you know what I mean, TSA, customs, the whole 9. At the end of it all, this person had ink all over them because one of the bags were a dummy bag. And this dude, he, of course, fired, locked up, fined, all these different things. Like, those are those things where it's like, yo, you might want to take your stuff on as a carry-on because you never know. Sometimes people think that check bags are the most safest bags, the most secure bags in the airport because they trust the airport and their employees with that process. So it gets really, really hard when, you have a very expensive item in your check bag when you could have just took it on with you as a carry-on, you know what I mean? So I always encourage people to do carry on, especially if your trip isn't that long. Like, if you're only going somewhere for like 1 to 3 days, you don't need a 60-pound bag. You know what I mean? Like 3 outfits, 3 pair of sneakers, 3 coats. Like, come on. You know what I mean? It's like, geez, you're packing way too much. You know what I mean? Or what you could do is you can actually, like, what I normally do, if I'm flying somewhere, I kind of get like all my essential things when I land. Like, what I'll do is if I'm going to like Boston or New York or something like that for like maybe a 2-day trip, when I land, I'll go shopping and get those things and then just stuff it all back in my book bag on the way home. You know what I mean? And not worry about it because I didn't really need to pack anything.
Okay, so I'm definitely gonna think twice if there's guys or women going through my luggage. At the airport. When you do, like, a lot of listeners are struggling with this idea of like working full time and juggling content and juggling family and social life. How has that been for you in juggling the job plus the content?
I will put it to you like this. You can't go into a career job and then want to start content creation and then shift gears. The only way that works is if the content creation or streaming supersedes the income that you're making twofold from your career job. The job that I have at the airport is part-time. I've been there for 15 years and I only have to work 3 to 4 hours a day. And the best thing about it is, a lot of people will tell you this. They'll tell you that an airport job is literally a an in-between of someone who's either going to school or has a full-time career job somewhere else, because the airport is only seen as a job where you go, you work for a few hours, you got a bunch of downtime because flights are in and out, and you have so much free time that you can do other things like study for exams, you used to look up projects, get notes, even write papers. And on my side, I got a laptop. I'm editing whether I'm in my tug, whether I'm in a break room, I'm doing content while I'm working a part-time job. And that's what the airport provides, as well as I fly free. You know what I mean? So like, that's like the biggest thing. Like, I save so much money for travel when I need to go somewhere. Like, say for instance, someone invites me to a pop-up in LA. I'm there. No problem. I don't have to look at my schedule. I don't have to look at prices. I don't have to look at any of that. I can just say, oh, I'm going. I'll be there. I'll see you guys when I land. It's that simple. You know what I mean? Plus, the medical and dental is great too.
Speaking, actually, that's a really interesting kind of twitch is about dental. You made this the call to share your story of getting an extraction, and I'm just trying to think, like, you're known for MBA, right? That's what you're known for.
Yes.
But you've explored kind of different content types and content themes over the years.
Yeah.
How did you come with the decision to, like, I am going to share this content with my community?
Funny thing, I had a few videos over about a 2-year span. It was when I started becoming a little bit more popular. People send you very disturbing messages and comments, and a lot of people call me overweight. A lot of people call me, you know what I mean, everything but a child of God. And in a few small comments, they said, hey, I wonder if this guy would ever think about getting braces. And I seen it a few times. I was like, braces, braces, braces. And then I seen this one comment, and this one guy was like, this dude teeth is just effed up. Like, ain't no way he making all this money on YouTube and his teeth is messed up. And it dawned on me, it was like, oh, wow. Everybody thinks when they see a YouTube video, they automatically think that the person in the YouTube video is rich. And they think that they just have piles of money coming in and that they're not doing anything with the money besides throwing it in the air every time they get it. You know what I mean? So I was like, oh, okay. So I decided to talk to my wife about it. We figured out that, of course, the plan, I believe, was like $8,000 for Invisalign, but I had to get a tooth extracted. And I was like, you know what, babe? For all the people that was in my comments and stuff like that, talking to me about this stuff, I want to see what their comments are going to be during the journey and once it's all finished. And she was like, oh, that sounds like a dope idea. She was like, okay, go ahead, record it. And I recorded it, put it out. I even had my kids with me during my extraction. It was crazy. Like it was insane, but it was dope because, showing them those things, it's like, don't eat too much candy. This could happen to you. And you know what I mean? Stuff like that. So that's always the best thing, man. Just being around family and doing content that I really want to do.
Well, you were talking about how, you get all the comments from everyone, and like one of them is he's crazy, he's overweight, and one of the things you went on to talk about was your journey with keto, and the success that you had with that. A lot of content creators just struggle with balance, taking care of themselves outside of the content and things like that.
Yes.
How did you find your journey with keto? Like, why did you get into that? What was that process like for you?
Well, funny thing. I got married in 2017. Me and my wife have been together since about 2006, but we just recently got married almost 5 years ago. And in those pictures, I was looking at a completely different me, it felt like. Like, yeah, that guy's happy. He's ecstatic, you know what I mean? He's getting married. His kids are right there with him, you know what I mean? Nothing could be better than this. But I looked at myself and I said, whoa. That guy right there is close to having a double chin. Whoa, that dude's cheeks are huge. You know what I mean? So it started dawning on me like, hey, how much do I weigh? And then I stepped on the scale, and I was almost upwards of 300 pounds, and didn't even feel it, didn't realize it. I thought, I was active because, I'm outside playing with my son, you know what I mean? Whether his friends want to play football and they want me to be quarterback, or I'm racing him every other day. But It's just the active person in me. It didn't mean that I was healthy. So I had to look at different ways to become healthy, not at a faster pace, but more so for me and my body and what I could handle. And keto, it was literally the perfect storm. A lot of people nowadays say that keto isn't really good for you, but there's a thing that people will never refute. If you eat too many carbs without doing anything, your carbs gonna end up turning into fat, good brother. You know what I'm saying? Or
Yeah.
good sister. So it's one of those things where it's like, okay, we know that keto is extreme because they're telling you you can't put in more than 30 carbs a day. But what they're not telling you is what's a good carb intake for somebody that is sitting at a gaming station for 10 to 12 hours a day. And that's where keto came in for me. It was like, yo, I'm always sitting down. I rarely get time to work out. I rarely get active. Let me see if keto works for me. And then, I lost 40 pounds and it was like, oh, yep, this works.
Nice. What did you miss? What food did you, I've tried keto. What did you miss the most?
Chicken Alfredo.
Oh,
Chicken Alfredo. Till this day, it actually makes my stomach hurt now to eat it. I tried it. I think I've eaten it about 6 times since I started keto, and it, like, every time I eat it, it just makes my stomach hurt. I believe that it's literally just too much now. You know what I mean? Like back then, you couldn't tell me that chicken Alfredo with broccoli, spinach, or something like that wasn't healthy. I'm like, oh no, hold on, I'm getting these good noodles in, I'm getting my greens in, I'm getting my protein in, and like, bruh. The pasta alone, the noodles alone, 100,000 carbs. You know what I'm saying? Adding the Alfredo, so more 100,000 carbs, salt, pepper, all it. I was like, oh, what about them 3 pieces of garlic breads you had? I was like, oh, dang. So yeah, it was definitely a mind shift for real, getting on keto for sure. But it worked though. Like it definitely worked.
hey, I just want to take a little pause from the episode to tell you about an amazing opportunity that we have. Stone's going to share a little more details, but if you're interested in growing your stream, then listen to what he has to say.
Did you know there's a proven way to grow your stream? I get that growing your audience can feel impossible. I've been there, but I'm here to tell you that with the right framework, it's not only possible, I try and make it as simple as possible. I spent the last 10 years learning how to hone my craft, and I've distilled the most important things that I've learned into a 1-hour free live training session. I'm going to be talking about the most important things that you should be focusing on to create amazing content, grow your audience, and to monetize. You shouldn't be working hard and not seeing results. I want to save you from working on the stuff that isn't really moving the needle for you. There's a proven framework that every streamer uses to grow. It might be in different ways, but I'll even show you examples of how it's worked with many new creators. So what's the secret? Stay tuned for the session. Find out. Spots are even limited. So make sure to save it now, and I hope to see you there. Just click the link in the episode description to register.
When you think about, kids and they're making content today, you've got a perspective of your dad, you're thinking about them, like, are they going to make their content or not? Like, there's an entire generation growing up now consuming TikTok, consuming Twitch, consuming YouTube.
Yeah.
A lot of them want to become content creators. I mean, there was studies that was like the number one thing that kids want to do now is that. What's your perspective on just like younger generation that's coming into content where they effectively live online?
So I only have one rule. If I'm the parent in the household of a person that wants to become a content creator, there's only one thing you have to do, and that is graduate from high school with great enough test scores or academic awards to then choose what you want to do after that. If you don't want to go to college, totally fine. If you want to just create content for a few years or do both, it's totally up to you. That's the only thing that I require. I don't require you to have a job at 14 getting your working papers. I don't require you to play in sports and stuff like that and be a sports kid. I don't require any of that. I require you to be happy and be a kid. If you want to create content on top of that, I wouldn't say make that a focus of your, like, a job at like the age of 16, because you're going to stress yourself out. You know what I mean? Because nowadays kids really don't know how to handle the word no. And I believe that if you get so many no's and so many, like my son was telling me the other day, he was like, yo, dad, I just made the 60 followers. I'm like, yo, congratulations. He was like, I didn't think that I would get there. He was like, man, it's been taking a long time. He's like, I got all these followers on like Instagram and stuff like that, but it never transitioned over to Twitter. And I was like, you know what? I mean, not Twitter, Twitch. I was like, you know what? How about this? I said, go live on Twitch and just wait about a half an hour. And he went live on Twitch. He's playing Fortnite and stuff like that. And then I just went live on Twitch too. And then I just rated him. You know what I mean? Just unplanned, just, you know what I mean? Just to show him like I'm proud of him and I'm proud of what he's doing, because he's basically doing everything that he wants to do without asking me like, hey dad, like, can you do this for me? I want to, you know what I mean? Like I want a certain amount of followers by a certain amount of day. How can you make that happen for me? Like he's legit. The only thing he asked me is like, hey dad, so about them V-Bucks. Like he just bought Madden on PC today. And I was like, you really want Madden? He was like, yeah. It was like, oh, he's expanding. You know what I mean? Like when he was growing up, it was Fortnite every day. And now he plays like Grand Theft Auto online. He's playing Madden. He, all the kids was into Among Us for some time, but it's like he's expanding his palette for gaming now. And I'm pretty proud of him for that. So, you know what I mean? I just say, look, just do good in school. That's it. You can do whatever you want. Just do good in school, get it over with, because it's only a few years of your life. You know what I mean? Just please graduate. You know what I mean?
Beginning of a year, and you've got 2022 ahead of you. What are some of your big moves? What's King Carter in 2022? What are you excited about?
I actually, you know what's crazy? I am excited to look more on the business side of content creation, as far as the finances and things of that nature. So for me, I've been doing this for so long that I know what it takes for me to make a certain amount of money. That doesn't really matter to me nowadays. Like money it's a blessing, but like I said, this all started out as a hobby. So any money that I make from it, it literally goes three places: an operating account, a stipend account, and a taxes account. I really don't do much with money at all. Like everything that I usually wear or something like that, it's either given to me by a company or something like that, or I'm wearing black t-shirts. You know what I mean? Like I really don't frivolously spend money like that. So for me, it'll be just learning more about the business aspect of things, like being able to do my own books instead of having like an accountant. That's the things that I want to learn, because that's actually a great skill. Because what will I be doing at 40, 50, and 60? You know what I mean? Will I be helping out other up and coming gamers? Will I be in a space where I'm helping well-established gamers? Will I be managing, influencers? What will I be doing in the next 10 to 20 years? So I want to learn as many skills as I possibly can on the financial side, because I already have what it takes on making deals and breaking deals side, because I've done deals with Best Buy, Mountain Dew, and things of that nature. So for me, it's like, okay, what's next? You know what I mean? So it's like always like, okay, finances, that's what I want to tackle this year. Finances for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think financial literacy and like being able to know how to use money and make money and invest money. And I mean, I hope you didn't invest too much last year. The stock market just went absolutely bananas.
Well, the best thing about me, I tried day trading, by the way. I don't know if you ever tried it, but man, what I do is I do safety stuff. So, for instance, for all you gamers out there, whether you're a parent, whether you're not, or if you just content create or you influence, no matter what, whoever's watching this, definitely know that a Roth IRA and a SEP IRA can save you for years to come. Think about it like this. If you have a SEP IRA, right, and they say you can deposit a certain amount of percentage of your income for the year, and that'll be a tax write-off that you don't have to worry about because it's coming from your business. Perfect. Plus, with the Roth IRA, if you start while you're 30, like if you're, my age, you can still become a millionaire by 60 if you put away 6 bands of your own earned income from the business, not off the top, after you do all of your logistical numbers and everything like that. If you have 6,000 that you can let go for a year, please invest it. Invest it in some ETF or something like that, or talk to a financial advisor or something like that. Just go ahead and save. You know what I mean? Like we don't need all of this money right now. We're gonna need it later when we don't want to work at all by the time you're like 50, 60. You know what I mean? So that's what I always say to people. Like, just definitely make sure you're making smart money decisions now, so you don't have to worry later.
Yeah, and it's one of the challenges. I remember when I was starting my content creation career, I just screwed up my taxes for the first 3 years. I didn't know anything. I didn't know what to do right when I first started out, and I learned that painfully later. But
Yeah.
but that's the thing, right? It's like knowing about this now, thinking about it, being smart about it. Everything you're buying, your microphone, your headset, your games, like all that's an expense on your business, and just like having that literacy at the beginning will save you a lot of headaches down the line and save you a lot of money too.
Yeah, like one thing that I always tell like up and coming creators that want to do this to make money. Of course, we talked about it when the podcast first started. Some people spend about 3,000 on a PC sometimes, and that's just the PC, not all the other, stuff that they need, like Go XLRs, lights, camera, stuff like that. And it's like, okay, did you start your LLC yet? Or did you just go out and just put that on like a maxed out credit card and now you're going to pay that back slowly but surely until you make it? Like, it's decisions like that that may either make you or break you because you don't know how heavy the weight of that stress is. Like, I always tell people like, hey, when I started out, I was on a firm a lot. You know what I mean? I was doing things where, 3 months, 6 months. They even had some yearly joints where it's like, I could buy it and pay it off for a year. Cool. But the weight of that was like, okay, if something costs $128 and I made $700 for the month for YouTube, and I know for the fact that, I just went crazy and brought that car I wasn't supposed to buy. Oh man, who getting paid? Uh-oh. And that's why you always want to make sure that you have a financial plan going in so that you don't make any dumb decisions that leave you in the mud later. So, for sure.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And that's great. I mean, seriously, I think everyone, when you're just starting out, like think about it. It's a hobby. You want to have fun. Mm-hmm. You should have fun.
Yep.
But know that what you're getting into is a very expensive hobby. And if you ever want to turn it into a business or a career, you got to think about it that way, like a business owner.
Yep. Truthfully, yep. That's why I love that it's gaming, man. Like literally, like every person that comes up to me that doesn't know me but hears my story, they always say, "So, how's the gaming going?" And I'm just like, "Yo, bro, I'm having literal fun every day." Like the little bit of time that, you know what I mean, let's say a executive assistant they might have like maybe 3 hours in a week to game. You know what I mean? 3 hours in a week. I'm doing 6 hours a day just playing a video game to stream on and then recording stuff later. It's like, bro, I'm literally living a dream right now. You know what I mean? Because people are literally pulling their hair out because they have deadlines and things that they have to meet in this executive and corporate world where it's like, bro, I'm just sitting back. I got like 4 controllers next to me, and that's like my only worry is like, do I got stick drift? Like, it's crazy. It's crazy, man.
It's a perfect way to wrap this, man. Like living the dream. Literally, you're living every kid and most adults, to be honest, at this stage is dream right now. And I think what I also want to give you a shout out is balancing, not only all the success you've had, but the length of that success. It's very hard to be in this game for as long as you have.
Yeah.
And also you've got a family. Like you build a family that you're incredibly proud of and get to spend time with. And I think that's a real example, and a lot of content creators will look up to you and what you've created and are going to follow in your footsteps and want to recreate that because that's the dream. Like, you've got so much going for you. So kudos to everything you've built over the last decade.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Nah, real rap. Like I always tell myself like, yo, I'm super blessed. Like super blessed. Like it's one of those things where like, the tearjerker movements come up, and you know what I mean. Like I try to have those like on a low just on my own. You know what I mean. Like it's like one of those things like when on Facebook Gaming, if we hit like a stars goal for like the month or something like that, it's like, bro, like I'm boohooing somewhere. You know what I mean. I ain't gonna tell anybody. But I'm just boohooing. Then I might like put something like, yo, I love y'all, appreciate y'all, because I just boohooed for like 5-7 minutes. You know what I mean. Straight just boohooing. So it's like things like that. It's pretty dope. You know what I mean? It's really, really dope.
It's really dope, man. Well, thank you so much for coming on the pod.
Appreciate you for having me. Literally, like I love podcasts, like, and I love listening to them. So I appreciate you for having me on one, for sure.
Dude, man. Thanks, David.
All right. See you later.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. I wanted to just end this with a little bit of context on why we do what we do. We're former content creators ourselves, and we just really want to help as many content creators as we can. That's why we started pipelinegg. It's a platform where you can find other like-minded creators and learn from the pros who've already been there. Get step-by-step guidance so you can avoid all the mistakes that we made in the beginning. If you love the episode, there's going to be even more inside of Pipeline. So check it out. Head over to pipelinegg.